My sister-in-law Valeria stands up at the family dinner, her voice dripping with sarcasm as she announces my supposed mishaps in the family business. And then there was that time Elena thought she could manage the client account alone. Oh, how naive. Laughter erupts around the table, a cacophony of chuckles and playful jabs, and I feel each one cut into me like a sharp knife. These aren't just light-hearted digs. They're focused assaults on the fragile fabric of my reputation. And I sit there, my heart racing, forcing a smile that feels more like a grimace. This dinner, like so many others, is a stage for Valeria to perform her twisted show where I am the unwitting star of her humiliation. Each chuckle from my in-laws feels like an affirmation of her pointed barb, a reminder that in their eyes, I am so often less than what I strive to be. My attempts to bond with Ricardo's family have always been met with Valeria's biting remarks, each designed to undermine my confidence and draw me further into the shadows. I remember vividly my first family gathering, the excitement I felt as I prepared. I arrived early, cooking a meal I hoped would win their hearts. Yet, as soon as I walked into the living room with my homemade dish, Valeria's sneer was unmistakable. "Oh great, another culinary experiment gone wrong," she quipped, rolling her eyes. That moment was a catalyst. I felt crushed, like my efforts meant nothing amidst her caustic barbs. Those initial attempts at acceptance quickly faded into a pattern of isolation and ridicule. The family seems to play along, entranced by Valeria's manipulation without a thought for the invisible girl sitting across from them. The girl whose dreams fade a little more with each disparaging word. For too long, I felt invisible, shrouded in a cloak of inadequacy, watching as Valeria dances effortlessly through the family's affections while I struggle for even a modicum of respect. I shift in my seat, preparing to respond, but the words freeze in my throat. It's as if the very air has been sucked from the room, filled instead with Valeria's calculated rhetoric. Each taunt is laced with laughter, each sideways glance punctuated by whispered conjectures of incompetence. There's a familiar heaviness in my chest, pressing down as I contemplate how to escape from her grasp, to prove that I am more than her anecdotes of failure. In this moment, the voices around me are drowned out by my own thoughts. I recognize that as long as I allow her to dictate my worth, I will remain bound by my silence. I scan the room, contemplating my next steps. Perhaps it's time for a stand. I am not just a victim to her ridicule. I am a wife, deserving of recognition and respect. And just like that, I decide that I will no longer remain silent. The time for change has come. I clutch my fork tightly, feeling the resolve simmer deep within me. Tomorrow, I will begin to reclaim my voice, confronting her lies not just with words, but with the undeniable truth of my resilience. The scars of my early days with Valeria still haunt me. Her smirk during our wedding left a lasting impression. As I look back at those photographs, the ones filled with joy and laughter, I can't help but fixate on her expression lurking at the edges. Valeria's eyes sparkled with envy as I twirled in my gown, enveloped in the bliss of the moment, while her silent threats loomed just beneath the surface. I remember her whispering to me coldly, "Just remember he was mine first," as she stood behind me posing for snapshots. That single comment etched itself into my heart, lingering like a foreshadowing of the battles to come. In those early years, I thought that as I married into Ricardo's family, acceptance would follow. Each family gathering felt like a testing ground, where I tried to forge bonds and create connections. However, the memories morph into painful reminders of Valeria's constant belittling comments. Flashbacks flicker in my mind like an old movie reel, her gloating laughter echoing as she announced, "Oh, did you need help with that cleaning, Elena? It must be hard managing your own home." On the surface, her remarks cloaked themselves in humor, but I could sense the underlying barbs that held malice. The stories of her earlier interventions bind our lives in a cruel tapestry, woven together with Valeria's manipulations. I remember the holiday dinners, where I'd bring a dish only to hear her laugh as she declared, "How brave of you to try cooking, but maybe next time just stick to takeout." I'd sink further into my seat, wishing for the earth to swallow me whole. It's a cruel reminder, a pattern revealing how she delights in undermining female relationships, ensuring I am nothing more than a target for her relentless barbs. As I navigate the choppy waters of familial interactions, I find solace in fleeting moments when Ricardo expresses admiration for my efforts. Yet in juxtaposition, there are endless instances where Valeria's voice drowns out my own, her opinions swaying his thoughts. Don't worry about Elena's way of doing things. She's just trying too hard, she'd say, intertwining the false narrative into the very fabric of our lives. Each remark chips away at my confidence, creating rifts between Ricardo and me. Our family dynamic perplexes me. I find myself questioning where I truly fit within these tightly woven threads of loyalty that Valeria so intricately controls. It becomes clearer with each gathering. A certain magic seems to envelop Valeria, highlighting her every charm while shrouding my presence in darkness. The way my in-laws beam with pride at her accomplishments makes me question my own worth, haunting my dreams and waking moments alike. As I watch Ricky laugh with Valeria across the room during dinner, I realize this is no longer just an isolated issue. It's a battleground for my dignity. The warmth of family gatherings has deteriorated into cold avoidance. It's exhausting and disheartening, feeling as if I am always in a war that isn't recognized by any of them. I painfully blend into the backdrop while Valeria shines as the center of attention, pulling the strings of this familial play. I often find myself in the sidelines, close enough to catch whispers of their conversations, but far enough to remain unseen. How long can I endure the suffocating grip of her verbal assaults and the weight of my family's indifference? The constant barrage of ridicule forces me to retreat deeper into my thoughts, battling waves of self-doubt and isolation. It feels relentless, a cycle that spins faster each day. Walking away from gatherings, I often replay my interactions. Each misstep, every defeat. The emotional toll mounts, and I can feel myself breaking, wanting to scream at the injustice of it all. I daydream about confronting Valeria but then imagine her laughter. How it could drown out my voice just as easily as it had before. My frustrations boil over during sleepless nights. Anger morphs into determination. Once, in a moment of weakness, I confided in Ricardo about my distress, but I was met with a confused expression. A look that made me feel even smaller. You have to let Valeria be herself, he defended, unaware that he was unknowingly pinning me into a corner. That conversation made me realize that being the quiet one was no longer an option. However, it was not just his misunderstanding. It was the suffocating presence of Valeria that I needed to address. So, I began to evaluate my role. This isn't just about being accepted in the family. It's about reclaiming my identity and asserting myself against her toxic grasp. I refuse to be defined by someone else's cruel narrative. As I watch Valeria continue her games, a fierce fire ignites within me. With each mockery she conjures, my resolve deepens. I am not her puppet, and I will not remain invisible. The tides will turn. And as I embrace my strength, I know that I am fighting for my dignity and the future that should have been mine all along. After another dinner filled with Valeria's poison, I start to document her lies. I will not be a silent victim anymore. My heart hammers in my chest as I lean against the kitchen counter, the soft glow of the overhead light illuminating my trembling hands. I pull out a notebook, my fingers itching to write. The previous evening, Valeria had made a particularly cruel comment, smirking as she twisted my efforts into something absurd. Elena thinks she can organize that fundraiser like a pro, but let's be real. She'll probably forget half the details. The laughter that ensued was loud and cruel, drowning out my solid contributions to the effort. It's in moments like these that I realize I need a strategy. I can't continue merely defending myself in the moment when Valeria's barbs find their mark so easily. I start to chronicle every jab she takes at me, every little seed of doubt she plants in my husband's mind. I learn how to describe even the tiniest interactions, noting the sly glances exchanged, the laughter at my expense. It all amounts to a much larger scheme. I flip through the notes I've written down, each entry steeped in raw emotion. I remember her voice dripping with sarcasm as she said, "Elena, are you sure you want to lead the community event? I'd hate for people to see how uninformed you really are." I record those words, along with the sting they carried, unwilling to let the pain escape unnoticed any longer. It's hard to confront these memories, but with each note, I conjure a flicker of hope. They are my silent witnesses, my backup in what feels like an increasingly lonely battle. As I begin to keep a mental log of Valeria's comments, I pay closer attention at family gatherings. I note the way she manipulates situations to her advantage, noticing how easily she switches from sweet to sinister. During a family picnic, she feigned concern when she critiqued the dessert I brought. I think it's so sweet of Elena to try, but let's be honest, a trip to the bakery would have been a better idea. I saw Ricardo laughing at her comment while I felt my stomach in knots, wishing the ground would swallow me whole. Every observation makes it clearer. Valeria isn't simply trying to derail me. She's meticulously plotting my downfall. Her tactics are insidious, breaking down my self-esteem and converting me into a punching bag for her entertainment. I feel a fire ignite within me. This cannot continue. I refuse to accept her as the authoritative voice in my life, undermining my worth. In preparation for my next interaction, I carefully plot how I might confront her. I practice my responses in the mirror, honing my responses against her barbs as I silently critique my reflection. Valeria, those comments hurt more than you realize. I am capable of leading this fundraiser, and with your support, I could make it work. It sounds shaky at first, but the more I repeat it, the stronger I sound. I want to confront her, not only to defend myself, but to lay bare her toxic behavior before everyone. The anger brewing inside me morphs into a resolute determination for justice. There's strength in the recognition of how she uses her authority and charm. I plan to take that power away from her. I know I can't challenge her recklessly, but I have to prepare for the right moment, potentially a family gathering where everyone is present, and I can finally make my case known. As days turn into weeks, I discreetly gather evidence of Valeria's manipulations and little cruelties that threaten to suffocate my voice. The notebook transforms into an arsenal of truth, one I will brandish when the time is right. I can feel a growing courage even as I face setbacks. The realization that my voice matters pushes me forward. I practice asserting myself in private. I visualize standing in front of my family while Valeria chuckles in front of me. The day of confrontation feels closer, and each stirring emotion becomes a burning anchor in my heart. I want everyone to see Valeria for who she is. The sister-in-law who cloaks her envy and charm, hiding sinister motives under a veil of sweetness. I can't quell the fearful thoughts that bubble up from time to time. What if they don't believe me? What if Ricardo sides with her? Yet, I push those fears aside, feeding off the newfound determination coursing through me. I believe I can expose Valeria's facade, and I feel empowered, ready to take my life back. The emotional turmoil begins to settle into clarity. I am no longer just a victim in Valeria's story, but the author of my own narrative. The day of our next family gathering arrives, thick with anticipation and the scent of impending confrontation hanging in the air. I can feel the weight of my notebook in my purse, filled with evidence of Valeria's deceptions. A collection of moments that have chipped away at my confidence and sanity. With every step toward the family home, a battle rages in my mind, the fear mingling with adrenaline, my heart racing like a wild drum. I take a deep breath and remind myself of my purpose. Today is the day I will not only defend myself, but unveil her web of manipulation to everyone. As I approach the house, I observe the familiar sights. The inviting porch filled with laughter, the family gathered around tables laden with food, and Valeria standing perfectly poised, her smile a dazzling facade masking the venom lurking beneath. I can hear her voice even before I step inside. It's so cute that Elena thinks she's helping with the decorations. She's really trying, you all. The laughter that follows is like a knife to my chest, but it fuels my determination. Inside, the gathering buzzes with activity. Family members greet each other warmly, while I get swept into the whirlwind. And my heart races with each interaction. I desperately seek the right moment to make my stand. I half-heartedly engage in the casual chatter, nodding along, but my mind is set, and the energy around me feels almost electric. Each comment from Valeria continues to sting, echoing in the back of my mind as reminders of why today matters so much. As dinner progresses, I watch Valeria effortlessly play the role of the charming hostess, weaving tales and amusing anecdotes that keep everyone enthralled. My palms grow sweaty as I clench and unclench my fists under the table. Finally, the opportunity I've been waiting for arrives. Valeria cracks a joke at my expense, her words sharp and barbed. So, what's next for you, Elena? Planning a career in mediocrity. I feel the laughter erupt around the table. But this time, instead of shrinking back into my seat, a surge of defiant energy surges through me. Actually, Valeria, I say, my voice steady despite the tremor within. I've been meaning to talk to everyone about that. I see the heads of my family tilt with curiosity, and for the first time, there's a moment of silence as they redirect their attention to me. I can feel Valeria stiffen, her smirk fading into something akin to surprise. I want to address how we've been conducting our family gatherings. I continue, looking directly at Valeria, her expression a mixture of disbelief and annoyance. You've continuously made remarks that undermine my contributions, and frankly, it's exhausting. It's time to step back and recognize the harm that this kind of behavior causes. I release the breath I didn't realize I was holding. An uneasy silence settles over the room as I process the wide-eyed expressions of my relatives. I press onward, feeling the momentum building. I've kept quiet for too long, but your commentary has turned supportive family gatherings into platforms for your mockery. I refuse to be a pawn in your game any longer. Valor runs through me, and I abandon any hesitation, claiming my ground. I lay out the details I have meticulously gathered in my notebook. Remember the time I volunteered to lead the school fundraiser? You said, I wouldn't want anyone to see how uninformed you are. And it made me hesitate about my ability to lead. Each time you've dismissed my efforts, it's chipped away at who I am. I pause, searching the faces around me for support. In that moment, I see my husband's brow furrow, and my heart beats faster. I decided to write everything down. Every belittling remark, every scathing comment, and the way our family gatherings have turned into showcases of your mockery. I pull the notebook from my purse, holding it up for everyone to see. This is the evidence of how you've manipulated these moments to reign supreme. Valeria's facade crumbles, and I can see the anger flash in her eyes. How dare you? You've misinterpreted everything. You're just jealous, she snaps, her voice laced with venom. Jealous? Is that what you think this is? I ask, my heart pounding, but I refuse to veer off course. I'm not jealous. I'm tired of being the punchline. This isn't just a personal grievance. This is about family loyalty. We can't lift each other up if we're constantly tearing each other down. Your insults impact all of us. The intensity of my words reverberates through the atmosphere. Moments stretching long as my family absorbs the confrontation. The silence stretches. Thick as tension hangs palpably in the air. Unexpectedly, I see a supportive nod from my mother-in-law across the table, and I feel a flicker of hope. You're right, Elena. We've all seen how Valeria can be. It's time to put a stop to the remarks. Her supportive voice invigorates me further, and I continue. Valeria, we need to correct this behavior now. We're a family, but we can't flourish if we allow belittlement to dominate our interactions. I've filled my notebook with love and respect for everyone. But if these remarks continue, we will all suffer. Let us instead be a family that cheers on each other's successes, lifting everyone up and creating a loving environment. The room sits on a knife edge, awaiting Valeria's response. Her face tightens and frustration radiates from her, but I can feel the power of my words holding the room together. I will not stand by and allow anyone, especially you, to dictate who I am. I say with newfound strength. I look directly at her. You can continue to play the role of the perfect sister-in-law, but I will no longer hold my tongue. From my peripheral vision, I can see confusion fading away and shifting in the family's expressions. A realization dawning on them, as if the fog that had clouded our interactions suddenly lifted. I take a deep breath, feeling the revelation bind us together as I stand firm in my resolve. This family can change, starting today. The aftermath of my confrontation feels surreal. It's a tumultuous cloud of tension, uncertainty, and a strange spark of hope that flickers in the air. Valeria's face, a canvas of disbelief and fury, becomes etched in my memory as if I'm fighting to hold on to this moment of triumph. My heart races as I scan the room, nervously waiting for someone, anyone, to react. The silence seems deafening, each second stretching into eternity. I brace myself, my hands trembling slightly, gripping the edge of the table for support. Ricardo finally breaks the suffocating silence, his brow still knitted in confusion, but determination starting to break through. Elena, I had no idea about all this. I thought you and Valeria just had playful banter, he stammers, searching my eyes for clarity. I can see something shift within him, as understanding begins to dawn. It's refreshing yet terrifying. Why didn't you tell me? He adds, a hint of regret creeping into his voice. I take a deep breath, my throat tight with the emotions I've kept bottled for so long. I tried, Ricky. I wanted to avoid conflict, but this goes beyond playful banter. It's belittling and destructive. You have witnessed how she has undermined me time and again. I can't pretend it doesn't hurt anymore. My voice shakes, but I press on, my words gaining strength with each syllable. I've documented everything. It's not just my experience, it's something we should not ignore anymore. Across the table, I see Valeria's defenses begin to crumble, her eyes shifting as she grapples with being exposed. This is ridiculous, she shrieks, but there's a quiver in her tone that suggests she's losing her grip. You think writing in a journal is going to change anything? This is just one moment blown out of proportion. Is it? I counter, my voice steady even as her accusation stings. How much longer do you think your mockery excuses your behavior? We're family. We should want the best for each other, not tear each other down. If we can't acknowledge our flaws, how can we ever fix them? I watch as her face reddens, realizing that she's under the scrutiny of not just me, but the entire family. Enough! Ricardo interjects, his voice firm as he addresses Valeria with a new intensity. This can't keep happening. We need to talk about how we treat one another. When you came after Elena, you crossed a line, Valeria. It's not how family should act. You need to take responsibility for your words. The weight of his declaration hangs heavy in the air, echoing with disbelief and surprise. I can hardly believe my ears. It feels like a dream to hear Ricardo finally stand up against his sister. The faces around the table reflect a mix of shock and agreement. Murmurings of support ripple through the family, as they witness this raw moment of truth. I've never seen this side of you, Ricky, Valeria hisses, her facade cracking. You're choosing her over your own sister? After everything I've done for you? I'm not choosing sides, Valeria. I'm choosing to understand, and this behavior isn't justifiable anymore. He turns back to me, holding my gaze. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner, but I do now. We need to heal as a family, but that starts with acknowledging what hurts us. A surge of gratitude washes over me, and I feel my heart swell. This is the moment I've been waiting for. It ignites something fierce within me. With the air shifting, my mother-in-law finally speaks up. I must say, I didn't realize how much this had been affecting you, Elena. It's clear something must change. Valeria, you must understand how some of your comments might have impacted her. We need a safe environment to grow as a family. Her words resonate without judgment. She acts as a beacon in the storm for everyone present. Valeria's composure is visibly slipping. Her eyes dart between each family member, looking for some form of support, but only finding a disapproving consensus. In her fury she snaps. You're all overly sensitive. I was just joking. Clearly, Lena can't handle our playful banter. Playful? I echo incredulously, raising my voice just slightly, feeling the firmness in my stance. This isn't playful, Valeria, it's cruel. Many jokes contain truth, and the truth is that your words cut deeply. My heart races as I lean into the moment, feeling an exhilarating sense of power surge within me. From the corner of the room, an unexpected ally pipes up. One of my sisters-in-law, who had spent too long in silence, finally finds her voice. You're right, Elena. I've seen our family gatherings go from joyous to excruciating when Valeria makes those remarks. We all need to support one another, not belittle each other. A collective murmur of agreement resonates through the room, each voice adding to the chorus of support. I can see Valeria's walls crumbling like sandcastles against the tide. You're all ganging up on me, she protests weakly, her indignation fading under the weight of truth. Standing taller than I ever thought possible, I step closer, my voice calm but powerful. This isn't a gang, Valeria. This is family, and family should lift each other up. It's time for you to acknowledge what you've done, and together we can work to create a more positive home. Even as anger threatens to bubble up within her, there's a flicker of understanding in Valeria's eyes that hints she senses the tide turning. Just as her expression changes, my heart beats wildly, feeling an exhilarating vindication. I've taken my stand, and I won't back down. I refuse to return to the shadows. Maybe I have hurt people without realizing it, Valeria finally admits, the tension in her body yielding just a bit. I never thought about how my jokes were received. I am sorry if I made anyone feel lesser. The vulnerability is unexpected, and the waves of forgiveness wash over the room, filling the void that had previously created such a chasm. She glances around, and for a brief moment, my heart hopes that we might find a new starting point. And just like that, I realize the confrontation was not just about calling out her behavior. It was a way to begin mending our wounds, both hers and my own. I take a deep breath, my own fears washed away, pushing past the anger that once consumed me. We can all improve, and that's the beauty of being family. We grow together, I say softly, filled with a genuine sense of hope. In that pivotal moment, I can feel the energy in the room shift. What began as tension evolves into a renewed atmosphere of understanding, and I see optimism glimmering in their eyes. Together, we begin to forge the path of healing, one where we are finally able to communicate openly, shedding the weight of judgment and misunderstanding. Today marks the start of something new, a family united in growth instead of division. After that pivotal confrontation, the atmosphere around our family dramatically shifts. It's as if a heavy fog that had clouded our interactions for so long has finally lifted, allowing sunlight to pour in and illuminate what had been lurking in the shadows. Over the next few weeks, we start to find our footing in this newfound openness. It's not easy, but the will to change is palpable, a flickering flame of hope that encourages each of us to step cautiously yet eagerly into the light. In the ensuing discussions, I realize that my efforts to confront Valeria have opened the door to transformative conversations within the family. Everyone shares stories, recounting how Valeria's barbs affected them, how her so-called jokes had often struck deep, leaving scars invisible but ever present. I hear from cousins I had barely spoken to, each narrative a thread weaving a tapestry of understanding. The shared experiences forge a bond stronger than I ever imagined, and I marvel at how easily vulnerability invites connection. In our group texts about the next family gathering, I take the initiative to reinforce positivity. I champion the idea of collaborative projects where everyone contributes, and we focus on the activities that allow us to celebrate individual strengths. Gratefulness fills my heart as I receive messages from family members expressing excitement about participating and supporting one another. It feels monumental. We are beginning to redefine what being together truly means. However, Valeria does not retreat peacefully. In quieter moments, I can see her struggling with new dynamics. She slips into sarcasm, perhaps testing boundaries, but I am no longer the silent victim. Whenever she tries to inject a passive-aggressive comment, I gently reframe it. That's interesting, Valeria, but it looks like our family values have shifted. I say, a calmness in my tone. The shock that flickers across her face reassures me I'm on the right path. I will not allow her negativity to steal our emerging joy. As the next family gathering approaches, I'm excited to try something new, a family appreciation night. The goal is to openly voice our admiration for one another, showcasing the unique contributions each of us brings to the table. The mere thought ignites a passion within me as I envision our family united in gratitude instead of critique. And I can't help but chuckle to myself as I anticipate seeing all the familiar faces come together with a spirit of celebration. On the evening of the gathering, the dining room is adorned with soft twinkling lights, candles flickering gently in the breeze, each detail carefully curated to invite a sense of warmth. The air buzzes with the promise of camaraderie. As I greet my family, I can sense an underlying excitement, a vibrant energy that seems to reach into each corner of the room. Valeria arrives a bit late, her aura different from before. She seems to be holding back a defensive wall, yet there's a softness in her eyes I had not seen before. I watch her interact, observing small gestures where she seems to engage with family members more openly, her smile less forced. It's a subtle glimmer of progress, and I can't help but hold on to hope. Maybe, just maybe, she's willing to join in on this journey of self-discovery. As we settle around the table, I welcome everyone warmly, setting the tone for the night. I want to thank each of you for being part of this journey, a journey where we celebrate not just our accomplishments, but the love that binds us as a family. I take a breath, feeling the anticipation swell within me. Tonight, instead of critiques, I encourage us all to share something we admire about one another. Let's lift each other and recognize the incredible individuals we are. I lead off, brimming with excitement. I would like to start with Ricardo. I admire your ability to support those around you, and your steadiness reminds me that family is not only about blood but the deep-rooted connections we foster together. My words elicit a shy smile from him, a glimmer of surprise as he absorbs the sentiment. The responses cascade around the table, laughter and warm words filling the space. Each person shares heartfelt notes of appreciation, and I see smiles bloom and eyes glisten as family members recognize their unique contributions. There's a sense of belonging that warms me from the inside out, a shared reverberation of love that envelopes the room in layers of connection. I notice Valeria, her presence becoming more anchored as she listens intently, the walls that once shielded her breaking down, brick by brick. Then unexpectedly it happens. Valeria takes a deep breath, and everyone pauses to hear her contribution. I never thought about what my words did to everyone, she begins, her voice wavering. I'm genuinely sorry for how I've acted. I thought I was being funny, but I see now how much it hurt. I appreciate all of you, especially you, Elena. Your strength has opened my eyes. The room is silent for a moment, disbelief hanging thick in the air, until Ricardo leans in with a warm smile. We're all learning and growing, he assures her, and I can see the relief wash over her. The acknowledgement of her vulnerability transforms into a turning point. With newfound courage, I reach out and say, "Thank you for being honest, Valeria. It takes strength to admit when we're wrong. Let's work together to make this family space one where we feel safe, cherished, and celebrated for who we are." Another round of applause follows, not out of obligation but genuine appreciation. A celebration of a beginning. The laughter returns, and the light atmosphere softens any remaining tension. It's a night of healing marked by authenticity and connection as we collectively walk a fresh path, leaning into our strengths. As the evening unfolds, I can't help but reflect on how far we've come. The shadows that once plagued our interactions are gradually fading, replaced by glimmers of support and collective love. In this vibrant new reality, the possibilities feel endless, and the laughter we share is brighter than ever before. I watch my family members bond, create new memories, and support one another in ways I've longed for. Together, we begin to flourish, embracing the genuine connections that hold us together with newfound celebration. As the weeks unfold after our profound family gathering, I find myself filled with excitement and trepidation for the upcoming weekend retreat that Valeria has organized. The prospect of returning to the cabin in the mountains, a nostalgic place from our childhood, stirs a mix of emotions within me. While I am eager to create new memories, a small shadow of anxiety lurks in the corner of my mind. Old patterns could resurface, but the positive energy Valeria exudes gives me hope. This retreat is different. Valeria approaches it with genuine enthusiasm, crafting an itinerary packed with bonding activities, cooking, games, and outdoor adventures. The other family members express excitement and support, a warm welcome that fills my heart with optimism. It feels like a chance to solidify our progress and take a significant step forward. Upon arriving at the cabin, I'm enveloped by the comforting scent of pine and the sounds of laughter echoing through the air. It's immediately clear that this gathering is steeped in a sense of unity. Valeria springs to life as she volunteers to lead the cooking effort, inviting everyone to join her in creating a feast. I throw myself into the mix, and together, we muddle through a chaotic but laughter-filled kitchen experience. It's wonderful to see her vulnerability transform into confidence as we create a shared experience. The atmosphere grows lighter as the evening unfolds. Game night becomes a hilariously chaotic affair. Everyone is finding joy, embracing laughter, and engaging in friendly banter. During the games, I catch myself teasing Valeria about her cooking skills, a line I wouldn't have dared cross before. Surprisingly, she rolls her eyes and smirks back, clearly more comfortable with the playful jibes. It's a sign that our dynamic has shifted significantly for the better. Later, as we gather around the fireplace, I can't help but appreciate how far we've come together as a family in just a short time. The warmth envelopes us, and hearts seem more open than ever. I express my gratitude, emphasizing how the support from everyone has played a crucial role in my own personal growth. We've all worked hard to get here, transforming our interactions into something meaningful. I say sincerely. Valeria's face lights up, and she stands to share her thoughts. Her voice is steady, filled with sincerity. Thank you for believing in us and pushing for a better family environment, she acknowledges. This weekend reminds me of how rich our relationship can be when we embrace each other genuinely. There's a few moments of silence filled with awe before a wave of applause erupts around the room. Her words resonate deeply within each of us, and it feels like the walls that once divided us have crumbled even more, leaving only connections that are now open and alive. As the night draws to a close, I feel the strong bond we've nurtured through laughter and shared vulnerabilities. We've begun to develop not just memories but a foundation of love and support that I know we will carry into the future. In this cabin filled with love, I realize that family is defined not solely by the ties of blood, but by the commitment we make to grow together, standing united and strong. Through this experience, I've learned that healing takes time and effort, but when we connect authentically, the rewards are immeasurable. With each new day, we are not just a family but a community rooted in understanding, love, and a promise to cherish one another as we continue this journey of growth together.